everybody, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, besides being stuck inside, going a bit crazy, talking too fast, what we are checking out is this bad boy right here. This is the Flywoo Chaser, and I gotta say, there's a couple of things in this life that I hate, and one of them is filming videos twice, and this bad boy has made me do that because the original video is now completely irrelevant once I gave it to Wingman John and we're in the field. You will see exactly why we had to come back here, reshoot this studio part, because this thing, it just, well, it didn't exactly go to plan. And
turn around for 2 seconds.
now I have a bit of a warning to anybody who's going to buy this. So at the time, the first thing, we're going to break it down. We're going to go through the text and the specs. We're going to go out to the field. We're going to fly this thing around, and then we'll have a bit of a sum up of the review and find out if you want to get this Cine B style, Cine Whoop, whatever you want to call it, chasing style of drone. Is this the one to get? And previously I used to say absolutely, but now I am saying definitely not. So as an overview, what is this? This is a little 3-inch Cine Whoop chaser. We've seen them all before. It is doing some interesting things. So the way it's got these little foam bumper part protectors, but little carbon struts in there, all this sort of stuff. We're going to go through that in the design, all the components, but it is made. You strap your GoPro on, you do some of that cinematic sort of filming, photography, footage, flying behind things. It's not made for flippy flops, freestyle, not made for racing. It's just made for capturing some nice, gentle, smooth, slopey footage. Now, at my previous testings, this, I would say hands down, was the best one I had ever reviewed. You hovered this thing in the air, it just sat there. It was almost like it was on GPS. Like, I have never seen a drone more stable than this, especially one of these filming ones. It was ridiculous. I mean, when I was hovering in the garage, flying it through the house, it was a gorgeous flying drone, and I was like, man, you wait till you try this stuff out. I can't wait to show the boys this, get them in the field. I fly around with it, it was beautiful, but then of course we give it to Wingman Jono, and well, you guys see exactly what happens. So before we jump in and have a look at that, let's quickly go through some of the components. Starting the outside in, of course, we will talk about the frame in the design, but we've got some motors on the outside. I think they're 2,900 kV, 1507s. We've got some little 3-inch tri-blade props on the top. Moving towards the middle, we do have a star of the show, which is, we have a huge ESC in there. I think it's a 50 amp up to 6S ESC, even though this thing was made to be running on 4S. So we've got a huge ESC, a flight controller, pretty sort of standard stuff, you know, your OSD. We've got a nice little antenna on the back that has one big pit. It is hooked up to my TBS Tango, so you can get it shipped with the Tango receiver, which is brilliant, and a beautiful Ratel camera on the front. So the stuff, the components in here, I've got to say, it is top notch. Flywoo makes some great stuff. The quality is generally really good. Moving on, let's talk about the frame, the designer thing, and this is where this one does get some extra marks. So you can see it doesn't have any big TPU parts around the middle, which I used to think were a good idea. I think this is the best sort of style of frame I've seen in this filming type. It's got these foam parts, which are nice light bumpers, but also it's got these little thin pieces of carbon in here, which means you can't deflect or push the foam out because there is a tiny little carbon spacer that goes between here, and that sort of stops things from getting deformed in a crash, all that sort of stuff. I love the frame design. Frame design, absolutely a 10 out of 10. If we talk about the quality of the thing, I would traditionally say, before we gave it to Jono, about a 9 out of 10. But traditionally, I've got to say, Flywoo is a really reliable company. But of course, we'll see what happens. And then, of course, moving on to the pros and the cons. And number one, I've got to say, let's get the cons out of the way. When Jono flies it, it doesn't go to plan. So that is exactly why I'm like, yeah, no, this one, I do not know if we got unlucky. I'm not too sure what happened. But when we're flying around with Jono, if you can't fly your drone, it's not really worth anything if it doesn't take off the bench. But the pros, when it was working, it was the most stable drone I'd ever flown. I really loved the frame design, and if I was going to choose one to fly around and film something, this would be it, bar that one problem we run into when we hand it over to Jono. So anyway, enough throwing Jono under the bus. Let's go see exactly what he did. We'll go out to the field, we'll fly it around. I'll show you some footage as well that I captured when I was flying it and not wrecking it. And then we'll hand it over to Jono and you'll see exactly what happens, and then we'll wrap up this review. So let's roll it in 3, 2, 1. And thanks very much, Jono, for making me film this video twice. But anyway, it's good for the viewers. 3, 2, 1.
Radio out here in the field. I got to tell you, you guys are in for a treat because Cine Bs, first and foremost, made for flying, but the stability of this thing is outstanding. We've got Wingman Jono in the background. We'll see what he thinks. I'm going to strap this GoPro on that you're watching right now to this drone, and I guarantee we are about to see some of the silkiest footage you have ever seen. So let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Boop. Radio, we're just going to jump straight in mid-flight here, and there's a couple of things I want to point out before we get in, talking about the nitty-gritty. Number one, of course, we are flying around. It's important to know this is with the GoPro Hero 8 with stabilization. So moving on, you can see This thing, it's a totally different type of flying style as well, but you can't argue with the results. This thing looks like it's on rails. When you are filming like this, it's like it has a gimbal on board or something like that, and it takes a different type of flying as well. So you can't do too much pitch or roll. You're just trying to fly around very, very smoothly, using a lot of the yaw axis when you're flying around, but it makes for some very, very interesting footage. And you can see if you had this in a car show, maybe you're flying through indoors, that's why these ones are made for filming. They're not made for doing crazy acro. They are not made for racing, and that's not where they excel at in terms of how the footage actually comes out. When you're moving too quickly, it doesn't look that good. And also, if you're doing flippy flops and jumping around the screen, it doesn't look so good. But when you are going slow, this is what it's all about. It's using this as a camera platform to get some unique shots that you can't get so easily with other craft, and all about keeping the craft level and just slowly puttering around, and yeah, just a really, really cool different experience. A very useful tool for some filmmakers out there. Now in a moment we're going to hand it over to Wingman Jono. I guess what we should say is the flight characteristics when you are flying this thing. It is easy to control, even though I wanted to go a lot faster than I kind of do on this craft. I wanted to sort of push it because I'm so used to sort of going full throttle, but this, very easy to control. It is very stable, very flat, I would say. So it stays in exactly where you want it to go. The camera looked great. Here you can see, of course, I try a little bit of acro, which is not recommended, but just having a bit of fun. But overall, the craft itself flying, you be the judge of the footage. I know the content, the subject matter there, unfortunately, you guys have to look at us flying around in the park, but it is a stable craft, and you can put this in your mind and think, where am I going to be flying? And overall, it's just a very, very cool, enjoyable flight experience if you want to do some filming. But, of course, it doesn't always go to plan, so let's hand it over to Wingman Jono and see exactly what happened. Rightio, Wingman Jono, so you're kind of into these. You've built your own one up, I think. What is it? Yours is the diatone one? No, what's your one?
My one is the iFlight one.
You've got an
yeah.
iFlight one of these you quite like. So what are your thoughts? This is the Flywoo one.
So my iFlight one's a fair bit older and it has like the 3D printed ducks on it. And with a lot of these new guys coming out, they have the they got the full frame over and they got the foam sides on there, which is you know, because generally these are meant for flying like indoors in tight spaces, getting that cinematic footage and stuff like that, where you want to do smooth flight, but you don't want to be running a full like Phantom 4 DJI or something ridiculous like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and so having the foam like guards around the side and stuff like that is just so much better for if you're bumping into things. Makes it less breakable and stuff as well. So yeah, these sorts of things, I got a big thumbs up on that. Like,
I got to say, this one, the props stick out the top a little bit.
Yeah.
Though, so I reckon you'd be losing a bit of efficiency or something, not quite as efficient as your ducks.
yeah,
anyway.
possibly. I was thinking about that, but I don't know that much about ducting, so I can't really judge myself whether it would be. But I feel like it should be up there a little bit higher. But yeah. In terms of like how it's built and stuff, it looks really nice. Like carbon frame looks good. It's got nice printed parts and stuff. I see you got the Crossfire one.
Something that I want to point out too, it's got these little carbon slits in here, so that stops the foam deflecting and not deflecting, which is a bit different to some of the others.
Yeah, that's a real nice feature as well. Stop that foam from pushing in, hitting the props and stuff like that as well. Yeah, definitely built for purpose. This one is, I think, is the word for it.
All right, nice. Let's take it for a rip and get your impressions.
All right. Oh, I like that click-in switch. Are we in leveling mode or?
It'll say on there. It'll say stability or air mode. So that's in acro.
Yeah, there we go. I can see it.
Do you want me to put it in stability or?
No, I'm happy to run it like this.
Can you actually come and fly past this?
Oh, flyby, yeah. Buzz the tower like Top Gun style.
Buzz the tower.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Stability wise, smooth wise, just look at it.
Yeah, like
I gotta say, okay, now you say first. I don't want to corrupt you. Oh, you crashed it. I turned around for 2 seconds.
it dropped. It just dropped. It dropped.
Wait, let me have a look at the switches. Did you press any?
No, I unarmed it. I did, but I.
What's this one?
What? No,
Sure you didn't touch
I
that?
didn't touch any switches. It just dropped. Oh. I'm glad I'd already broken that GoPro. All right.
Let me have a look. Oh,
What happened?
oh no.
Oh, burning. Yep, burning. Yep, smoked the motor.
Did
Done.
we?
Yep, motor's gone.
Damn.
Oh, wow, that burnt, man. That was hot. Excuse my language.
Oh damn, I was really excited for this one.
No, that's terrible.
That was like my choice one. I was like, yeah, this is it. This is gold.
What motors is it using? Flywoo. Why did that smoke? That's crazy.
It's just, are they all hot? No.
I think it was just one.
No.
I think it was just that
No,
front.
it's just this front left one is bazillion degrees.
Yeah,
It's
wow.
all cooked.
That was, yeah. Gee whiz.
How's your thumb?
Oh no, it's all good. I just touched one of the screws and I was like, wow. That's painful.
Well,
See, I told you it wasn't my fault.
yep.
I told you it wasn't my
That's
fault.
why your face was like, no, I didn't. Yep, I can't. Why did that happen?
I don't know. It's not like I was pushing it or anything. I was just.
Can you hold this?
Yeah, I was just coasting along.
And it's not like the windings are being touched by a screw either. I don't think, from what I can see.
Do you reckon it might have just been one bad motor? Can happen.
Flywoo usually makes good stuff, so
Yeah, she's smoky.
yeah. Do you reckon it'll arm again?
Don't know. That motor's not going to go though. I can tell you that now.
Are you sure?
Smells pretty bad. Nah, it's gone.
Yeah, definitely.
He's dead,
Cooked.
Jim.
Shit's cooked.
Oh, that's a real bummer. I was enjoying
good
that.
one,
little
Jono.
fight.
Don't worry. I'll just send you the bill later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, jeez. Sorry for breaking your stuff.
Man, tell you what, I am happy though that didn't happen over the river when I was flying with my GoPro. I would be pissed. Or you as well.
Yeah,
It'd probably be better if you lost yours, view-wise, and I'm sure these people would like to see it. Do you want to float over the river?
Hey?
No.
No, definitely not.
Rightio, so there it is. There's my review of the Flywoo Chaser, and I've got to say, if it doesn't work, well, it's not really any point getting. I don't know what Jono did. One of the motors got so hot and it kind of burnt out a little bit there, and it just, all in all, really, really disappointing for how this thing was flying. Every single other flight, like the 10 packs that I put this through this thing before, because I've taken this out some other previous times before I gave it to Jono, was great. Jono took it for a flight and maybe we got unlucky, maybe it was a reviewer's curse, maybe it was just one in a million type of things that happened, but I can only give you the information that we come across regarding this one single product. So normally I would say this thing is absolute gold. From all the other flights I'd had, all the other tests, the design, everything like that. Some other videos online look pretty cool as well. The link is down below, but a big warning, you saw what happened when we handed it over for that extra flight, the 16th flight, whenever Jono flew this thing, well, just fell out of the sky. He wasn't doing anything in particular. You can see the shock on his face. I mean, like, what are you doing, bro? What did you crash into? And he says nothing. He just fell out of the sky. So, I don't know. That's a bit of a disappointment because I thought this would be the be-all and end-all, the bee's knees of this style of craft. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Huge shout out to Wingman Jono. I know I was giving him a lot of grief in this video, but I'm so glad that happened because this channel, it's all about giving you the right information, showing you how these drones perform in real life, testing them, giving you the info so you can make the right choices to get the right drone for you. And I think it's important that we don't just fly it once and say, hey, yeah, this thing was great. We give it an actual run for its money and we found out a little bit more, so that might inform you guys in the future when making your purchases. Anyway, enough rambling. Subscribe for more FPV related content. Stay safe. Hopefully you can survive the lockdown, and as always, happy flying.